Hi there. This is going to be a brief video tutorial on IELTS speaking. One thing which can go wrong in the IELTS speaking is this. You're asked a question and you don't know what to say. This is most likely to happen in part 3 of the exam, where you get the more complex questions in a question and answer session, always based on the discussion in part 2. One thing you can't do is say silent. If you wait, that's probably too long. The examiner is going to be noticing that you don't have the language resources to answer a question immediately. And certainly in this part of the test, that's something they'll be paying attention to. So you do need to start speaking not immediately, but really quite quickly. What do? I've got a suggestion for you. It's quite a simple suggestion, really, and it's simply to repeat the question. But I'm going to make it slightly more complex than that by pointing out there are different ways to do this. In essence, there are 3 different ways. Let me demonstrate them for you briefly. Okay, the sample question is, what would you do if you could change your job or profession? Now, that's quite a tricky question. It may not be something you thought about before. So, this is the first way to do it. My job, my profession, change it. What would I do? Now, that's actually okay. What I've been doing there is I've been picking out key words in the question, job, change, profession, repeating them. Now I'm communicating, I'm speaking to the examiner, I'm not staying silent, and I'm also thinking at the same time. Problem with that is, it's not great English. It's quite natural English, but in the exam you don't just want natural English, you want to use your best English. So let's look at a different method. This is for me, the second method. And in a sense, this looks more straightforward, though in practice, not all the time. And here, what I would say is, what would I do if I changed my job or profession? Actually, all I'm doing is repeating the question. The whole question this time. Now that's in a sense slightly more impressive. You're using joined up grammatical English and you're giving yourself time to think. In practice, there's something which can go wrong here. You stumble over your words. You don't remember the question completely. So let's move on to the third one. Now this is the difficult one, but it's the one I suggest you work on, and it involves thinking about a bit of grammar. The suggestion here is, so you're asking me what I would do if I could change my job or profession. Now, what I've done here is slightly different. I've made it an indirect question. I put something on the front like, so you're asking me if. That is both very natural English, it's also quite complex English. It's one of those structures which if you use it and the examiner hears it, the examiner is going to be impressed. The danger is there is a bit of grammar involved. You need to change the word order. The original question is, what would you do if you could change it? The indirect question is, so you're asking me what I would do. So I've changed would you to I would. Now, it's not a disaster if you get that wrong, but it's certainly one of those things you'd want to try and get right. Now, one final point I'm going to make here is there's another benefit to taking this approach. If you repeat the question, you're almost certainly going to answer the question. And one mistake people make in the exam is they start talking, but they start talking about the wrong thing. They don't talk about the question. Okay, to recap briefly, 3 things to do here. all to do with repeating, reformulating the question. 1, just pick out the keywords, job, change, profession. 2, repeat the question. 3, reformulate, i.e. change the form of the question into an indirect question. And the benefit of this, it allows you to start speaking immediately, but it also allows you to think at the same time. Give it a go.